Paladins are already really strong. You can tank, you can buff, and most especially, you can smite. But what if you could outright blind your enemies with raw aura? Cause today's Oath of Radiance subclass lets you be the blinding light that your enemies fear. I'll showcase how its features work in a combat encounter using my signature action cam. I'll also show you what Garo is, cause if you're into dark contemporary fantasy, I think you'd really like it. Welcome to My Wife Is the MC, where we take pop culture to pen and paper. I'm V and I've been running and designing D&D Homebrew for 10 years. Garo is a Japanese action horror special effects show. It's set in modern-day Japan, where dark entities called horrors entice vulnerable humans with short-sighted pleasures. Giving in ultimately forfeits their souls and grants the horrors a new body to walk amongst the sheep. Fighting this hidden threat is the Makai Order, a secret society that practices martial and mystic arts to combat the horrors. And at the front lines of this invisible war are the Makai Knights. Warriors who don dazzling suits of soul metal armor to fight the horrors on equal footing. But even among the Order, there is one lineage of knights who shine above the rest, the one who bears the title of Garo. And Garo is the main inspiration for today's subclass, the Oath of Radiance Paladin. Its tenets are to push back the darkness, to have faith in the goodness of people, and to inspire hope in those lost in despair. And these tenets are my guiding principles in designing its features. Specifically the character of Saejima Koga, since there have been quite a few inheritors of the title in its 20-year run. The homebrew also has a bunch of magic items for you to play with. These include weapons from the artifact level Garoken or the legendary Zero Swords. It also includes a few wondrous items, like the Mado Lighter, which the knights use to detect horrors in the vicinity. The homebrew also has some cool sentient jewelry. In the series, Makai Knights wear these talking trinkets that guide them and maybe sass them every now and then. But before we dive in, today's sponsor is from someone you're probably already subscribed to. Friend of the channel, The Ugly Goblin, just released his new Kickstarter, The Ugly Goblin's Cookbook. This book adds flavorful things to your D&D games. First, it lets you harvest ingredients from any monster with unique effects for each one. The ingredients naturally weave in narrative elements and make for some emergent storytelling moments. Second, you can cook these ingredients with a small minigame that involves your party cooking custom meals. And third, it has enough rules to support travel, exploration, and resource gathering for all your cooking needs. And can I just mention how beautiful the art is? It's got TUG's signature whimsical and colorful style with a slight hint of horror. The Kickstarter just went live a few days ago, and you can help it along by clicking the first link in the description. If you catch the limited pledges, you get a chance to have your own unique OC show up in the book, or contribute your own unique ingredients. Supporting the Kickstarter also supports my wife's Kraken Risotto addiction. Thank you TUG for sponsoring this video, and thank you for supporting the Ugly Goblin's Cookbook. And now, back to the video. For this showcase, we'll make the iconic wielder of Garo Saejima Koga as a level 8 Paladin. He'll be a human with a noble background, adding a +1 to strength and a +2 to charisma. For his origin feat, let's take tough for simplicity. To round out his stats, we'll put his Paladin ASIs to strength and charisma as well. His stats look like this. For his opposition, he'll be up against 3 CR 1/8 horrors and 1 CR 3 horror using the Bearded Devil stat block. And now that that's all set up, are you comfy at the table? Let's see how the Oath of Radiant plays in... Welcome to the Action Cam! Koga chases a strangely dressed man across a business district rooftops. The man stops and turns around, shedding their host's flesh to reveal a horrific black and red visage. Spikes and insectoid legs crawl along its rubbery hide, ending in a pair of mandibles bursting out of a black skull-like faceplate. The centipede horror lets out a beckoning howl as 3 more horrors jump out from the shadows. The centipede rushes Koga with a swipe, missing him with a 12. It then follows up with a swing of its barbed extensions, but Koga parries it with his sword as it misses with another 12. Koga gets his bearings and sees the numbers against him. He dodges right under the centipede and strikes at the lesser horrors to thin the numbers. As he takes the attack action, he'll replace that first attack and draw a circle in the air to summon his Radiant Armor. This is the core feature of the Oath of Radiance, and it grants a few things at the cost of 1 channel divinity. The first is the unique heavy armor that grants him an AC of 15 plus his charisma modifier up to a max of +2. This limit goes up as he gains more paladin levels, but for now, It brings up his AC to a hefty 18 thanks to the defense fighting style. You're also given the freedom to describe how the armor looks. In Koga's case, he dons a brilliant gold armor with a wolf motif. The second benefit is called Brilliant Glint, as bright light shines in a 10-foot aura around him. This activates as part of donning his radiant armor, or as a bonus action on later turns at the cost of one channel divinity. This catches all the horrors in the glint, follow them to make con saves against his DC of 14. The centipede unfortunately passes with a 22, while all the 3 lesser horrors fail with a 12, 11, and a 6. This blinds them until the start of Koga's turn. Koga then uses his second attack on one of the blinded horrors. He nearly misses with a natural 1, but advantage turns that roll into a 21 as he slices through the horror with ease, with 12 slashing damage. The final benefit of Radiant Armor is transforming your weapon into the Gleaming Armament. This is more of a ribbon effect, and it lets you bypass resistances of fiends and undead against physical damage. The blinded horrors hear the wails of their fallen comrade, and flail around toward Koga's direction. Both of them miss due to their blinded state, rolling an 11 and 13 with disadvantage. The centipede follows suit, resisting Koga's blinding radiance and making 2 attacks. Koga easily parries the spiked fist as the creature rolled a 15 to hit. But with its infernal tail, it lands squarely on the knight's chest plate with a 19 to hit and dealing 10 slashing damage. Koga isn't too concerned with 74 HP remaining, but notices getting nicked by sharp barbs in the gaps of his armor. He'll have to make a DC 12 con save or he'll start bleeding out. Thankfully, Koga's aura of protection helps him close the wound with a 14 on the save. As the centipede ends its turn there, the armor's blinding light finally breaks through the creature's resistance and blinds it. Just in time as well, as the armor's brilliant glint finally fades at the start of Koga's turn. He now finds himself surrounded, and decides to cut down the remaining lesser horrors. The first horror falls easily to his blade, rolling a 15 to hit and dealing 11 slashing damage. The second horror is sturdier than the other, as Koga did hit it with a 12, but only rolled 8 slashing damage. He'll take a bonus action and instead use 2 charges from his Spirit Tinderbox to cast Searing Smite. This is one of the features of this magic item. It lets Koga cast certain spells like Detect Evil and Good, Produce Flame, and of course, Searing Smite. Koga takes out his lighter and wreathes his sword in Radiant Fire, reducing the horror to cinders with 6 fire damage. As the lesser horror burns, the centipede takes cover behind the fiend's ash cloud, but misses its barbed fist with 17 to hit. Unfortunately for Koga, he gets blindsided by the tail, hitting him for an 18 and dealing 11 slashing damage even with disadvantage. The surprise attack was enough to get past the knight's defenses, as Koga failed his DC 12 con save with an 11 and starts bleeding out. At the start of his turn, Koga loses another 7 hit points as the blood begins to flow. He's still at 56 HP, but the longer this fight goes on, the more his wound will sap his vitality. Koga pushes past the pain, swiping the centipede twice with a 19 and 20 on both longsword strikes. His slashes were shallow, unfortunately, as he rolled only 5 and 6 on the damage roll. So he'll use a level 2 Divine Smite on that second strike, for a total of 21 additional radiant damage. No longer blinded, the centipede fights for survival as it lands 2 attacks on Koga with a 24 and 20 to hit. Koga takes 8 piercing damage from its spiked fist and 7 slashing damage from its glaive-like tail. The knight stumbles and realizes that its spikes were laced with toxin. Koga must make a DC 12 con save or become poisoned. Luckily, his divine power purges it from his system with a 12. It's the start of Koga's turn again, and the bleeding from his open wound hasn't stopped as he loses 7 hit points. Koga himself is nearing his limit with 34 HP remaining, but manages to land 2 slashes with a 25 and 19 to hit. Even with another level 2 Divine Smite, Koga only managed to deal a total of 24 damage as the centipede remains standing. The centipede latches onto Koga's arm and lands another 2 blows on the knight with a 19 for the fist and a natural 20 on the tail. The armor cracks under this assault as Koga takes a total of 30 damage. He manages to pass the DC 12 con save against the poisoned spikes, but unfortunately, his open wound is threatening to knock him out. It's the start of Koga's turn. He only has 4 hit points, and the open wound sheds 1d10 hit points. And Koga goes down as the blood loss reduces him to 0. Or does it? Koga's level 7 feature, Aura of Hope, puts him back up to 1 hit point and restores him by a number of HP equal to his Paladin level. It's something he can only take advantage of once per day, but in this case, it paid off as he faces the monster with 9 hit points remaining. As a bonus action, he'll restore 30 hit points from his lay on hands. With confidence, he walks slowly towards the cowering centipede, and with one final strike, the insectoid horror is finally cut down. A few fun facts. The creator and often director of Garo is Keita Amemiya. He's no stranger to tokusatsu stuff, having directed and designed Kamen Rider Zeo and J, and served as SFX director for Shin Kamen Rider. The 90s one, not the one by the Evangelion guy. Also, Zeo from the 90s, not the Time Lord from 2018. Second fun fact, that centipede horror is actually from Kamen Rider Blade, and was designed by Yasushi Nirasawa. He's the visionary who did the undead designs for Kamen Rider Blade, Kabuto's Worms, and even Denno's Imagine. He's got an incredible eye for macabre and grotesque designs. Sadly, he passed away in February of 2016, only at the age of 52. Going back to the subclass, Paladins don't actually get a lot of power boosting features. Most subclass effects are defense or debuff oriented, so the Oath of Radiance instead leans into this by expressing the themes of brilliance, hope, and inspiration through its features. At the time of this video's release, Garo will have celebrated its 20th anniversary, and this is my tribute to one of my favorite Toku franchises. You can find the Oath of Radiance in the second link in the description. The full version has a bunch of extras like a sentient magic item, as well as magic weapons like Garo's sword or Zero's scimitars. The level 20 feature even gives him one of his many jetpacks.
It's okay, you can take them.
By the way, the page has a light version that includes features up to level 7. It also has a few magic items that you can try out absolutely free. If you want to support us further, please support the Ugly Goblins Cookbook. I personally think it's a great D&D supplement, and trust me, I know how much work it takes to create cooking mechanics. If you like what we do here, do consider becoming a member. It gets you huge discounts on all homebrew, exclusive Discord access, and exclusive subclasses. And of course, you'll find your name among these honored mallards you see on screen. Let's welcome back MC as she gives a personal shout out to the $10 members.
Hello! It's me, the Mallard Quinn. And here we have the magnificent mallards, Gamer Gaming, Storm Starshine, Yggdrasil 88, Bryant LW, Coinop 1989, KV, Piku, and Cosplay Battle.
Hey, if you're still watching or listening, thank you so much for sticking around. My rewatch of Kamen Rider Ex-Aid is now complete, and I'm deep into design work. The October schedule is still happening though, so the next homebrew will be about stalker enemies like Mr. X or the Xenomorph from Alien Isolation. But if you can't wait for more, I've got a Ranger subclass here themed around using any item in the PHB, inspired by Gachi Yakuta. You can check that out right now. Until then, my wife and I hope you have a great day ahead.